Okay, hello everyone. Hi, my name is Laquan Williams, and today in this video, I want to do the my review for Dexter's New Blood, his revival series, which is also a continuation of what happened in the past 8 seasons of his regular show, which was just titled obviously Dexter, which ended about in 2014. But anyways, it's back now obviously, and it's a 10-part episode series. This is the sixth episode. It's called Too Many Tuna Sandwiches. They are today on Sunday, the 12th of December, 2021. In total, there's only 10 episodes that's going to be taking place with this whole entire revival series. There are no plans for any more seasons after this one, so that's basically will be the end of it. Currently, obviously, Dexter obviously has been dealing with the fact that Harrison, his son, who obviously he had to abandon years ago and leave Miami and fake his death after his sister Deborah Morgan died right here. And obviously, she's obviously a ghost, but she's the only one obviously can see him, obviously, just like his stepfather, Harry, or Harrison, which he named his son Harrison after, which is right here. This is when they're at the therapy session. Dexter's obviously talking with Harrison and a therapist, and Deborah pops up as her ghost, as she always does, and talks to Dexter, tell him how much of a screwed up individual he is and how Harrison's better off without him. But she did like the fact that he was going to therapy. She did like the fact that Dexter was going to therapy with Harrison to make things better and to mend the relationship and make things better. Even though it's not always going to be 100% because Dexter left him 10 years ago after Deborah got shot and killed, and obviously he had to leave Miami and quit the Miami Dade County Police Department as the forensics CSI crime scene investigator, because obviously some people were getting close to finding out the facts that he was the Bay Harbor butcher. And obviously, the serial killer that they were hunting for many years, but they never figured out who it was. But he did frame his one of the police detectives there, Dobbs, a black guy, for it, and everybody thought he did it after he was killed. I think Dexter killed him, if I'm not mistaken, and framed him to make it look like it was him, because he was the only one who actually figured out that Dexter was lying, and he found out about it, and Dexter had to get rid of him. So that's what happened. I think it was in the second or third season when that took place. I can't remember because I've seen all the episodes, but that's basically what happened. So in this episode, which is episode 6, Dexter and Harrison are going to therapy, trying to figure out how they can mend and fix their relationship of the past. Because 10 years ago, Dexter left Harrison when he was just a little kid and left Miami, and he went to go live with his stepmother, who died of cancer just recently, a year ago. And a couple of years ago, when Harrison was jumped around from foster care to foster care, and he left, and because he aged out, now he's on his own. Because in foster care homes and systems, when kids are like 17, 18, they're not really favorited or loved by the people that are adopted them or their adopted parents. So they like to basically have younger kids around because that makes them feel younger themselves and obviously and more youthful. If they have an older kid around, they don't like that. That's why older kids really don't get picked up in foster care a lot. That's something that actually happens in real life, obviously. So basically, they didn't go into therapy. Something happened. Dexter learned from Harrison that he lied about going to therapy last week. He went to go talk to Kurt Caldwell, Matt Caldwell's father, who Dexter killed a couple weeks ago. He's a playboy son, lots of money, spoiled brat kid. Guy's 23, 24, very young. Drugs, alcohol. He was doing all that, having parties. Dexter killed him after he almost shot him in the face when he shot a white deer on an Indian reservation land for the indigenous people in the woods where Dexter's at, because they're over in upstate New York and there's lots of Native American / indigenous people that live there. And Dexter's obviously there in the forest. It's the woods, but there's snow everywhere. But anyways, you can't shoot them on sacred land, specifically that not just that animal, but any animal. It's a big, huge spectacle, obviously. Dexter is dating the police chief of Silver Lake, Iron Lake. Her name is Angela. She confronted Dexter. She showed him the picture of his obituary picture with his real name, which is Dexter Morgan. She knows he's not Jim Lindsay. After it was revealed last episode when Harrison snitched on his father and himself, essentially, and he told Angela's stepdaughter that Jim Lindsay is not his dad's real name. And Angela found out after her Dexter's former co-worker, Detective Batista, was in town for a police conference. She was there. They talked to each other. He brought up the situation with Deborah Morgan being killed, and also the forensic scientist that was involved with it. And he said the guy had a son named Harrison. That's when she put one and one together, and Angela found out that after she went online and looked at about Deborah Morgan and Dexter, that he obviously was the one she was talking about, and Harrison is his son, and it all matched up. So she confronted Dexter, she about him lying about who he was and stuff in his past. He played it down very well and was very good at convincing her that he was sorry and stuff. Even though she, at the end of the day, she told him that basically she didn't want to like spend any time with him anymore. So that's just, that changed at the end of the episode, but I'll get to that later. So they didn't break up, but they're still together. Kurt Caldwell was burying this at the girl Chloe's body that he killed last week innocently at the bus stop. Basically, he owns the diner of the town. It's also a truck stop. He kills girls, kidnaps them, tortures them. He's been the one that's been doing this in the city for years, but nobody knew it was him because he's a pillar of the community. He's supposed to be the nice guy who helps people out, even though he's a hard ass and he yells at people. He does curse, but he doesn't care. Everybody knows him. So in a small town like that, has a lot of power. Besides that other guy that lives in the town of Iron Lake, who's like that oil baron rich guy that obviously Angela's stepdaughter, who's Dexter's son, Harrison, is seen. He likes her. They're kind of into going into dating each other. They got caught in bed by Angela in this episode, and obviously hurt them. And obviously, you put Dexter in a bit of an issue because they're not talking to each other. Angela told Dexter to fix this and to talk to him, so that obviously hurt him. So also what happened, we saw was Kurt Caldwell is still lying, has been exposed for him lying about what happened to his son. So essentially, what happened is we get into the whole situation with Harrison talking to Kurt Caldwell. He said, "I can work with you," and he's going to be working cleaning trucks at the truck stop / diner that he owns in a gas station because that's what's going to happen. They went to therapy. Dexter went to therapy, and they tried to talk to the therapist. It didn't work out so well because Dexter was lying, holding back. Harrison got mad about that and obviously told him that he didn't appreciate him not being honest at the therapy session. So we cut to Dexter trying to talk to the podcast runner. I think her name was Mary or Melinda. Before that happened, she talked to Kurt Caldwell about what happened to his son. And she really fell for the trap, and she actually went with him to his cabin in the woods that's isolated that nobody knows about. He actually almost killed her, but Dexter intervened and stopped him while he was talking to her, and he basically busted him. And so now he obviously has been caught, Kurt Caldwell, and that's obviously an issue. Angela knows that he's lying. They went to the caves, and one of her police officers. They went in the cave and they found her best friend that ran away, which is Iris. She got kidnapped years ago and killed by Kurt Caldwell. And at the end of the episode, Dexter is called by her, and she asked him to help her, and with his forensic scientist, obviously special skills and whatnot. And on the next episode, we see that Kurt Caldwell obviously gets caught and he is arrested. So it looks like they have enough evidence against him for him to arrest him about Iris and apparently his son Matt Caldwell that's missing. But they know he didn't kill him, but he is lying about that. But he still obviously can't say I know that Dexter killed him because he doesn't know what happened to his son. But yes, he lied about that. There was a guy in the hotel room where Matt Caldwell was at in New York City pretending to be him, and they found Angela and went there with the podcast girl Melinda or Mary. Caught Kurt Caldwell lying, and he saw that he paid somebody that probably works for him to pose as his son at the hotel room, rent a room with that name under it. He probably paid for it, and then he left and checked out of the hotel room. They saw the guy on the camera, the security footage, and they noticed that it was not Matt Caldwell. So they know about that. So they know he's lying. Kurt Caldwell gets arrested in next week's episode, and that's what's going to happen with that. I don't know how the evidence stacks up how Dexter's able to do that, because remember, Dexter is not a forensic scientist for the Iron Lake Police Department, so how can they use that evidence against him? I don't know how that's going to work. But Angela's probably gonna use it as come across saying she got an anonymous tip, and she after that her forensic scientist experts did it, and she's not gonna say Dexter did it because he can't legally do that because he is not a forensic scientist for Iron Lake, obviously. So that can't be used in court. Obviously, it'll be inadmissible in court because the evidence won't be able to be used against Kurt because they're like, well, Dexter is no longer a forensic scientist or CSI crime lab investigator for at all, and so you can't use that evidence against him. And Kurt Caldwell has money, so his lawyers will be able to get that thrown out. So they're gonna have to lie about that. Once all the bodies are stacked up and the evidence points back to him, and they go to his cabin, they figure all this out. It's not going to be easy. So we'll see what happens with that. We have to search the whole area and land for that. They found Iris's body in that cave that they were about to check, but they did obviously weren't able to. Angela did, and one of her police officers, excuse me, his name's Timmy, I think. They went there and found it. So that's what's happening. So Dexter obviously he helps Angela with his forensic scientist skills, figure out that Kurt Caldwell lied. He's the one who killed Iris, and he's obviously the one who's been killing and kidnapping all these girls, just like he kidnapped Iris. Angela's friend like about 15 years ago, and she went missing. They never found her. Just like the rest of the girls, he's been killing, and he was even beating the girl's dead body. The Chloe girl that had blue and green hair last week, he was painting her body on some fake prosthetic face on the left side of her eye. He punched her, and even though she's dead, because he shot her twice last week, one in the head and one in the chest after she was dead. Once in the chest after she was dead, so he shot her twice. So he was about to kidnap another girl, Kurt Caldwell. But the girl's boyfriend came up out of nowhere and said thank you for the money that he gave her, and then they left. He got mad and upset because he wasn't able to get this girl. That's what he does. All the girls that come to his truck stop / diner that he owns, they're all young, and he kidnaps them, he tortures them and kills them, and then he dumps their bodies. So that's what happens. But he wants them to run and chase after that, so he lets them go like in the I forgot that show called where people get hunted by rich people. And they get shot and killed. They capture them, and then they torture them. And then they said, "We're gonna let you free, but once we let you out, we're gonna you have a certain amount of time before you die. Obviously, and you could get killed." Kind of saw that happen in the Hard Target movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, where they had these rich people were kidnapping people, and they said, "We'll let you free, and you can live, obviously, but you have 12 hours to run while we are hunting you down and shooting you." I think it was called The Dangerous Chase or something like that. But that's basically what happened. So he has a large rifle with a scope on it and an infrared beam, and he shoots the girls while they're running away like 50 feet away from him and kills them. But last week, Kurt Caldwell shot the girl point blank range with his rifle after she ran up into his face. He said, "No, I don't like that. I like to chase. That's what he was basically saying. It's not supposed to happen like this, because he likes to chase. So the girls running away scared and thinking they could get away, and he shoots them and kills them. That's what he's been doing for years now. And now it's been exposed that he is obviously the killer that they've been looking for. He gets fingerprinted and handcuffed and booked. We saw in the preview for next week's episode, which is season 1, episode 9. Season 1, episode 7. It's called Skin of Her Teeth. I have the YouTube video right here. I'm going to put the promo for the episode in the description box with all the other links to the articles for you guys, for anybody to see, for you guys who are watching to see it. But see this. Dexter also watched Harrison at his wrestling match. He snapped after he got elbowed in the eye by some kid. He broke his arm on the opposing wrestling high school team. So Harrison got mad and did that. Kurt Caldwell was basically telling Dexter's son Harrison, attack this kid, get him, hurt him, make him, give him hell, show him some pain. He was like whispering in his ear, weird, like he was like Anakin Skywalker. He was like Darth Sidious, like he was like trying to tell him to go evil, come to the dark side, basically. Essentially, that's how it felt. And he did that. And after that happened, Harrison's like looking at the coach, obviously, who was also the police officer, the black guy who works with Angela. He was, he's like, "What are you doing?" Then Kurt Caldwell told Harrison he was great. He didn't do anything wrong. Dexter comes out of the bleachers and the rafters with all the rest of the parents, but where he was at, he was talking to this bartender girl who he's been talking to for a while, obviously, and she was the one who suggested him and Harrison go to therapy. She suggested the specific therapist that they go to, that they were going to, that they saw in this episode. He gets up and he walks down there, and Dexter pushes Kurt out the way and says, have you done enough already? And Dexter's like looking at him mad, like, "Stay away from my son. What are you doing?" Stop telling him to, become this evil, vindictive person like you. But Harrison obviously was going to do it anyways. Now, the coach told him, "You're mad. Use that anger." But how Kurt Caldwell was kind of doing, like, how he's talking to him on the sidelines with the coach after, it was like, hurt this kid, show him no mercy, basically. He was like, trying to help him give into his bloodlust. Harrison revealed to Angela's stepdaughter that he likes to think about hurting people all the time. Besides Ethan, he says he hurt somebody else a couple of weeks ago when he was at a truck stop. Some guy tried to grab him. He beat him up or probably cut him. So he revealed that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's going to hurt anybody else in this whole entire series. But he did lie about the Ethan situation. He lured him there. He knew, obviously, Ethan was going to shoot the school up, but he stopped it. But he still cut him and lied and said he cut me. Ethan didn't cut Harrison. Ethan was cut by Harrison himself. And then after that, Harrison cut his own self with his switchblade knife or pocket knife. to make it look like Ethan did it, but obviously nobody was there except them two, so nobody knows what happened. But Ethan had pictures and obviously of him shooting his fellow students up, so they looked at that as a credible threat, and they got rid of him because of that. So they basically said you have to go. He's going to juvie, and he'll probably go to jail. And also the guns that were his parents' possession at his house, he was going to use, and they were confiscated. He was going to use to come back and shoot up all his fellow students who were bullying him and making fun of him and harassing him because he had a kill list in order, or a hit list is what it's also called. So that's essentially what's been going on. That's the comments down below. So basically, that's the end of my video review, and that's all I have to say about this. The show has been getting better every week and every episode. Essentially, I was surprised that they're actually going to find out that Kurt Caldwell actually was this guy. I thought they were going to make who's been kidnapping, killing these girls, and torturing them. I thought they were going to suspect it's more people, but apparently Dexter obviously changed that and made a difference with that, because he obviously busted him in the act in his cabin in the woods trying to kill Mary or Kelly, I forgot her name, Molly from her podcast, who's there obviously trying to figure out the truth. She was told and warned by Angela, do not talk to Kurt Caldwell at all by yourself or at all in general, because you're going to mess my case up. And she actually almost got killed. It wasn't for Dexter. Dexter actually said, you know what, I can let her die. It'll actually be poetic. But actually he said, you know what, she's actually trying to help, so I'll just save her. That's essentially what they did. So Dexter goes to the cabin in the woods with Angela next week. And after Dexter tells her Angela where it's at, and they figure out that Matt Caldwell obviously killed Iris and all those other girls, he gets arrested. Where they're all buried at, we have no idea, and also what he did with those bodies. They could be buried around that whole entire area where he has his cabin at. He has other properties too, so we obviously don't know where they're at. Besides Iris, he killed her and put her in that cave. It's possible that there's other girls in that cave that are dead and buried under rock because of him. Because he did it, obviously. We don't know, but we'll see what happens. But that's essentially it. It's very fun to see all of them together, even though Deborah's not alive. She's a ghost, but only Dexter can see her. But it's funny. We'll see what happens, obviously, on the rest of the series. There's 4 more episodes left, and it'll be ending at episode 10. That'll be the end of it. It was cool. I didn't expect to see Detective Batista on last week at all, or anybody like that from Dexter's past, because the show's has all new characters except him and Deborah. Obviously, the Trinity Killer's name came up, but he obviously won't be making an appearance because I believe he is dead. But he was talked about. Essentially, I think one of those kids at the high school that on the wrestling team with Harrison is one of his sons or something like that. We'll see what happens with that. But that's basically the end of it. The end of my video, and that's all I have to say about this in regards to Dexter's revival series titled New Blood, which is 10 episodes long, and it just started airing about 5 weeks ago. So 5 more episodes to go, and there'll be 10 in total, and that'll be the end of it. That's it. Thank you again for watching. Let me know in the comment section if you haven't been watching this, because you're not interested, obviously, in Dexter anymore, because it's possible it's been a long time now. So many years have passed by, you really don't care. Or if you haven't watched it, what do you think about it? I was actually glad that they brought it back on, because this was one of my favorite shows in the late 2000s. I watched a lot besides Suits and Royal Pains and White Collar and stuff like that. And also on Showtime, I was really big into Ray Donovan. They're just bringing that back next year too for a last movie continuance together with the rest of the cast, obviously, to pick up where they left off on that cliffhanger at the end of last season's, which was season 7, which it was the final season of. It was 5 or 6 of Ray Donovan, so I'll be happy to see that. It's another Showtime show that I enjoyed watching. So we'll see what happens. And they also had Mini Saints in New York with the Soprano situation, that family. They did it on HBO Max. They're going to do more movies of that to continue on, more than likely, the next couple of years, to wrap up the legacy of Tony Soprano, a.k.a. James Gandolfini, the actor who died about 3 years ago, unfortunately. His son in real life played him, though, on the show. It was pretty great to see him. He looks just like him. He played him in the movie and also as well. So we'll see what happens with the rest of this series with Dexter New Blood in the next upcoming 5 weeks. That's actually, this is episode 6. So there's 4 more episodes left. So yeah, but it's 10 in total. But anyways, that's the end of my video, and that's all I have to say about this, again, in regards to Dexter New Blood. And that's it. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye. Thank you.